Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the virtual Cobalt Cafe. It is week number 279 of our series, possibly 280. I'm always living in fear that I forgot to update the number on the ongoing note. Who knows? It's somewhere around 279. Tonight, in addition to our open reading, our featured reader is Jasmine Vallejo Love. Jasmine, really happy that you're here with us. We're going to do a few of our open readers first, five open readers, and then we will have Jasmine read, and then the rest of our open reading. If you would like to read tonight and you haven't already done so, have I said that my name is Rick Looper? That's not an instruction on how to read. That's a parenthetical thought I'm having at this point. My name is Rick Looper. Hello, I'm here moving this thing along. Close parentheses. If you would like to read tonight, though technically I shouldn't have said that again if I'm just closing a parentheses. I should have just continued on. I'm going to begin again. Hello, my name is Rick Lupert. Welcome to week number 279 of the virtual Cobalt Cafe. If you would like to read tonight and you haven't already done so, send me a message in the chat. I'll be happy to add you to the list. You get to read up to two poems. That means you can read one poem or two poems, in case you were wondering what that meant. And our suggested time limit is less is more. So keep that in mind. We got a lot of people on the list tonight, and I want to make sure everyone feels comfortable sticking around as long as possible until the end, so everyone can hear everyone else read. We do have a one drink minimum here at the Cobalt Cafe. Make sure that you are observing that in some manner that you're comfortable with here. Finally, make sure you have the chat room open. The chat room's where you can interact with each other throughout the festivities, send each other messages, comment on what you hear people reading. If you say things that you want people to click on, you can post those links in the chat. And of course, you can send each other private messages to arrange secret rendezvous or just give each other secret advice on how to publish books for free, as was happening before we went live. Okay, there you go. That is every single thing I need to tell you. If anyone at this point, before we get to our first reader, Jay Severia, if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them at this time. Cathabella Wilson.
Rick Rupert, have you ever worn a flowery hat?
Have I ever worn a flowery hat? I feel like I probably have. I feel like I've been in stores where flowery hat, whenever there's a store that has hats, I'm likely to just take whatever hat it is, whether it's flowery or a fire person's cap or whatever, and just put it on. I was in the middle of Pennsylvania and they had like a Viking helmet. I just put it on to entertain my wife with the great possibilities of, honey, look what hat I'm wearing now. So I don't have a specific
Great.
memory of wearing a flowery hat, but I just may have.
Wonderful. Me too.
Okay, great. Well, good question. Thank you, Cathabella. And your flowery hat. Looks like Martin Parker has a question. Hello, Martin.
Hello, Rick. I was just wondering this evening if you have a favorite kind of windows.
Of window, like the
Window,
things that
yes.
you look out, or
Yes.
perhaps are looked in through, at through. Gosh, I like big windows.
Mhm.
Uh, that's you guys all remember that the rap song. I like big windows and I cannot lie. I'm paraphrasing. I might have the words wrong there. Um, Bay windows are pretty cool
Mhm.
because then it's like you get in there and they're like surrounding you. And I'm a fan of the windows that have the the lines that go through them, not
Mhm.
the ones in between the panes of glass, but the ones that are raised,
Mhm.
like old style.
Mullions, yes. That's the technical term, I think.
There you go. Thank God you knew, because I just know them as the things in between the panes of
Right.
glass. Okay,
Uh,
cool. Good question. Thank you so much, Martin. Any other questions before we get going? Scrolling to page 2 of the people. There's so many people here tonight. I've got to scroll through pages of you. So you can imagine all the extra effort I'll be making tonight, going from one page to another. All right. Looks like there aren't any other questions, so we are going to get right to our open reading. Bill Gaines, you are on deck. You'll be our second reader. Please welcome our first reader, Jay Severia. Hello, Jay.
Hello. Biali Kuali Tiotlak, Nasha Natoka Jessica Saravia. Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre is Jessica Saravia. Hi, good evening. My name is Jessica Saravia. I say hello to you first in the ancient language of Nahuatl, which is from the region of Cuscatlan, otherwise known as El Salvador, Spanish, and English. I'll be reading 2 poems today from my newly published poetry anthology, Euthanasia, and I am happy to start with the very first poem that begins in the book that covers suicidality, recovery, and addiction. This is called The Building with the Orange Blossoms Out Front. I went down that same old road with my mother a few days ago, though it was funny to think that she was in the passenger seat. I've only recently told her that I was happy that she did what she did. I am forever grateful to my mother for that. It's an old building in an old town with old orange trees in front of it. The most soothing thing I remembered going in. I was scared as hell going in, which I'm sure translated to everyone in the waiting room. I tried to look so tough. I sat there silently, like everybody else, but I could hear the waves of tears inside me, gathering up in delicate drops that bounced off the walls of my heart like raindrops on glass. I could hear everything, but said nothing. Until I got into my psychiatrist's room. She was warm, kind, and elderly, exactly the kind of person who, I wouldn't admit it then, I wanted to be like when I grew up. She sat in front of me, and I remember the low light that made me feel safe, like I didn't need permission to settle in. In this space, I could be cozy, and all the secrets scattered in all corners of the room could eventually come out of hiding. And they did. She went down the list of disorders, feelings. How is it when you are home, that I'm sure she knew some of due to the frantic nature of my mother. Aside from the blossoms, it was the way she first caught me that sticks out in my mind. This interaction was slow and quick, but even now still seems unreal. I listened to myself answer yes or no, where in my final answer she caught me on a wire. It was just one question. Cutting or self-harm? I answered no, but tugged at my left sleeve, begging in my mind that she did not see. She did. Thank you. I'll be reading a shorter piece called Bultos, which are in my culture, and as a curandera, a natural healer, is other worlds. Bultos. In between worlds, bumps in the road, finding forks to go down. No, mija, don't go down there. So, okay. Where do I go? Spirits take me everywhere. My spirit is sensitive, unsure, unnerving, weaving in and out and around all over. I feel the bumps, then turn away. My spirit spirals throughout, and I return home. To Sokomatria Mateo, thank you so much for listening. I will put my email in the chat. If you would ever like to feature in one of my shows or have business inquiries, I am happy to connect with you all. Thank you. To Sokomatria, have a great night. Thank you for allowing me to read. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Our pleasure, Jay Savaria. Sorry for mispronouncing your name from the get-go, but you set a high standard for us tonight. And thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here, and please come back and read more.
Absolutely. Let me know if you need a feature. I gotcha.
Okay, cool. Round of applause for Jay Savaria. On deck, Cheryl Latif. Please welcome now Bill Gaines. Hello, Bill.
Hello, hello. How are you? And hi, everybody. Thanks for showing up again. I have two short ones I will be reading tonight. The first one is called Fluid. Battery fluid in a coffee mug looks awfully tempting today. It'll wake you up, that's for sure. And it's not the only drink that'll break you down. Place those dreams in a plastic bag and seal it up with duct tape. You don't need them and they won't expire. Drink for the future, drink for the now. Drink for the history of all humankind. End of peace. And my next one is called Taurus. A wooden door in a wall of bricks, the entrance to a donut shop, a gateway to the heavens. Enter and leave the world you know, the one where certain gravity binds your feet to stale dirt with rubber bands and record sadness. Enter and fly, for the door of the shop is another dimension. The walls are outer space. Fly, for time and distance do not matter to you. The stars are all within your reach. The donuts themselves are spiraling galaxies. The guy who runs the joint is a god. End of peace. And that's it for me.
I always wondered what gods did in their downtime. I guess it's just they're just running small speakeasies and such.
Yeah, they make the donuts for us.
Very good. Well, I want a God donut, so let me know where I go to get that. Bill, it's nice to see you again. Last time I saw you, you were our featured reader, and you made this fantastic broadside for me for one of my High Moose Alert poems, and just want to thank you again publicly for that. Really, it's a beautiful piece and
Happy to do it.
meant a lot to me that you did that. Yeah.
Well, thanks,
All
Rick.
right.
Thanks for the shout out. Thank you.
Sure. Round of applause for Bill Gaines. Thanks for being here, Bill. Ike Waltz, you're on deck. Please welcome Cheryl Latif. Hello, Cheryl.
Well, hello. It's nice to be here, and hopefully we can move forward nicely in this new year. I have two poems. They're both short. This first one is brand new, and I can't guarantee that it's done, but and certainly open to feedback. But yeah, it's my first new poem of the new year. Half moon rises over glistening sea. Embedded reflections of joy emanate, birth, renewal, and hope. Disperse cellular equations of universal acceptance, paving a better tomorrow to be embraced, to be shared, to be known, shore to shore. Between yesterday and today, you discover creation. Amid shadows in the sun, truth born in the space of dreams, moments of unyielding momentum. In the depths of denial, depraved indifference finds you afloat in dream shadows. A cappella wishes echo beyond, deliver embedded reflections of a glistening sea. Thank you. And this next piece This next piece is actually part of a book that I had done with an artist friend of mine, Brad Burkhart. Some of you may know him. And basically, I wrote poems based on his pieces of art. I chose 40 pieces of art from what he sent me, and for each of those I wrote a poem, and this is one of them. Joyful Imagination. There is no hiding the force of goodness, the strength of connection, the timeless understanding of what is and what may be. It is written on your face and mine, hovers above each of us with promise to be embraced as we walk this path with friends amid chirping birds, playful pets, the sound of music filling the air, filling our heads with a delight we are called to share. After all, we must start somewhere. Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you, Cheryl. We must indeed start somewhere. Congratulations on starting the year with a new poem. That's awesome. And that book that you did with Brad Burkhart is beautiful. So thanks for bringing a piece from that back. And welcome back. Good to see you. Round of applause for Cheryl Latif. Okay, two more readers than our featured reader, Jasmine Vallejo Love. On deck is Christopher Bogart. Please welcome Ike Waltz. Hello, Ike.
This is not only a poem, but an outcry based on harsh reality, listening to years of legalized injustice, indoctrination, and my concern for the future of my America. Written January 22nd, 2021. January 6, 2021. This is who we are. This is what we became. Truths and consequences of the fake awaken in shock and bitter reality. Once impossible, it will never happen here, we said. Now a nightmare instead. Are we surprised? And if we are, we admit how self-centered and stupid we are. Some call it mental health, the poor state of education. Say what you want. Our form of democracy had collapsed. Our country now repairing shame. Moral bankruptcy offers no gain, and we? Tell me that you felt something. Admit that you felt at least disturbed. A paralyzed nation not ready to debate. Reality, conspiracy, and fake news boil over in the aftermath. Yes, our federal democratic republic continues to support the legalized corrupt. Protecting corruption is at stake. How could we for so long look away and still do? This is not who we wanted to be. So easy to say, but this is who we became. Our constitution versus corruption, racism and injustice, as per today. Insurrection at play. A graveyard full of indispensable men, past reason so much to blame. The founding father enshrined their frozen foundation on shaky ground, loopholes exploited by constitutional law, the lucrative milking of the holy cow. And we the people looking at the constitution that forgot to act. Amendments strategically paralyzed, no protection against gun violence, killers exercising their rights, watching the daily news, watching the second, shooting the first in the foot. Insurrection at play, the populace confused, unity divided. What a spectacle, the ratings are high. The world is amused. Why are we surprised? Why are we even shocked? It was so long in the making, the asset of white men's supremacist gods, defended by selfish politicians defending a system of convenience exploited by incestuous legalization, corruption, serving a few. Yes, we became numb. We let us turn into the mob by one single blowhard, brainwashed into the fake, relishing in conspiracy, and if in fear and in defense, it's the gun we take. We the people, we the divided people, we cannot trust the Constitution, we cannot trust the SCOTUS, where winning the case is more important than justice is done. The land of the brave, demanding supremacy, a rogue militia with loaded guns, and if the gun is our soul, that cruel American gun. The only thing that protects us, we say, that makes us that irresistible American brave men's men. The land of the free, captivity by stock market reality. Like images and corny cartoons, we became so impressed by these reality shows, heroic Looney Tunes. A whole world we bother not to see, that evangelical superiority, complex without foundation, science we pretend not to hear. We forgotten how to question history and love our neighbors. We really don't care. And now we deserve what is happening. Insurrection at play. So history had repeated itself. Our beginning came to an end. The American experience had ended. No, we are not any better. Never were we innocent. Empathy, a game we like to play. Conspiracy at play? The crisis of the past normal fear that demands a freedom of the absurd defended by that deadly gun. AI has only begun. We'd better begin again. And if we want to talk about healing, we have to have the will to update and amend our constitution, a constitution not subsidized by loopholes, but suitable to guide us through a 21st century. Only such action has a real chance of healing, beginning by dismantling our systemic legalized corruption and racism, breeding the toxic cocktail of destruction, the deep-rooted cause of it all. I end here. It's 2 pages longer.
I appreciate that sensibility, Ike. You said so much, which is important, and which will stick with us. The words "a graveyard full of indispensable men," I think, is one of the most concise assessments of what war is. So thank you for that. Thank you for being here. Round of applause for Ike Waltz. Thank you, Ike. On deck, our featured reader, Jasmine Vallejo Love. Please welcome now Christopher Bogart. Hello, Christopher.
Hey, Rick, how are you? I'm going to read 2 poems from a book that I'm working on with an illustrator right now. And if I can share the screen, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Yep, now I can. This, for example, is just one of the illustrations. It's is ice cycles, violent brigands on bikes. This is kind of a takeoff on Horton Hears a Who. I don't know how successful this is going to be, but I hope it gives you at least a laugh. The first poem is called The Rename Game. For those of you that are old enough, Shirley Ellison, 1958, did The Name Game. This is a little trick with Dick. In a futile attempt to cement newfound fame, Donald Trump started playing a brand new kind of game, or rather a very old game with a brand new rename. The Gulf of Mexico was the very first, and trust me, far, far from the very worst. The Gulf of Mexico. Oh, I'm going to have to sing it, I guess. All right. The Gulf of Mexico. Banana, fana, fo, Mexico, fee, fi, mo, Mexico. America, The United States Institute of Peace, the Institute of Peace, Banana Fana Fo Feast, Fee Fi Po Peace, the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace, the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, Art Fo Fart, Banana Fana Momart, Fee Fi Fo Art, the Donald J. Trump and John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Farts. It's here where momentarily Trump came to a halt. Instead of San Andreas, King Don renamed it the Joe Biden's fault. Now let's try our luck with Chuck. And the second poem is going to be this one. But before we could find out what rhymed with Chuck and use it to describe our present state of bad luck, let's examine King Trump's latest usurpation to show how dire the dilemma the arts are in this situation. And what situation is that, you might wonder? Well, one where a rename was the least of Trump's blunders. No, the Drumpf went all hog, appointed a whole new arts board, and named himself chairman of this whole dumbass horde. Where once packed audiences were enchanted with the Nutcracker suite, Drumpf and his sycophants had dredged up a list of new treats. This is the Donald J. Melodia, Sam and Eric, and Baronet Drumpf in the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. This is part of the schedule for 2025-2026. Gone the Broadway musicals like Hamilton and Les Mis. Oh no. The Drumpf maggots had tapped into a different side of showbiz. The far-right pantheon of performers, most just subpar. Some wrinkled superheroes and some has-been rock stars. For example, a dramatic reading of Mein Kampf by Kanye West. A new level of terpsichore surpassed all former stars, with Drumpf Russian influence called Dancing with the Stars. Fresh from their work at Home Depot LA parking lot raids, the brand new and improved and black masked Icecapades. And for MAGA music lovers who liked songs brash, not trans, there was the music of Stephen Sondheim as sung by Roseanne. And finally, for fans who liked entertainment mostly musical, here was the MAGA fan favorite, Charles in Charge, the musical. So now the citizens of you are left to ponder a new thing. Did he believe he was King Don, or did he really think he was Don King? I would like to close just with saying that starting toward the end of this month, we're going to begin a once a month reading of the poets who are in Silence is Consent. 83 poets that were in it are going to be sent that notification, but any of you who would like to be notified as well for these readings, please put your address, your email address in the chat, and I will make sure you're put on the list of people being notified. Thank you.
Christopher, thank you very much. Always doing important work here, and every day it's getting more and more important that you keep doing this. Thank you so much for being here and for continuing the good work. Silence is consent. Yeah, please let Christopher know that you want to know about that stuff. Thanks for being here. Round of applause for Christopher Bogart. On deck, after our featured reader, will be Martin Parker, which leads us now to our featured reader, Jasmine Vallejo Love. Jasmine, I'm really happy that you're here. I met Jasmine in Long Beach at a reading a couple of months ago and immediately put her on my list of people to invite to these festivities. It was a really cool reading, Long Beach Poetry Festival, I think it was called, at a small theater there, and I was in a room lucky enough to hear a lot of poets who I'd never heard before. I've gotten so used to doing stuff on Zoom that I haven't gotten out to in-person readings as much as I used to. So it was a really treat to do that. It was a real treat to have been able to do that, as well as to read a couple poems and to get to hear awesome people who I wasn't familiar with, including Jasmine. Jasmine has all kinds of wonderful credits to her. She's a disabled Afro-Puerto Rican American poet and writer living here in LA. Her work engages with social issues such as mental illness, domestic violence, addiction, and sexual assault. She is a Diana Woods Memorial Award finalist in and period. She also is a 2025 Lambda Literary Emerging LGBTQ Voices Fellow and was selected for PEN America's Emerging Voices Workshop and the Tin House Workshop. Those are all a lot of awesome feathers in your cap, Jasmine. Her work has been anthologized and has appeared in places like Pinch, Lunch Ticket, Chola Needles, and this is really cool. You know, we always give out our social stuff and say, hey, follow me here, see what I'm doing. Jasmine put in her bio, engage with me, engage with her on Instagram. And then we'll paste it later, but so you can see what it is. But that's really cool to be in a place with someone who isn't just here to say, look what I can do, but who wants to engage with you. A two-way street kind of situation. So really happy that you're here, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. Please welcome our featured reader, Jasmine Vallejo Love.
Thank you for that, Rick. That was a wonderful introduction. I'm so excited to share this space with all of you today. This is such a lovely community. For the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to share a sampling of my work, including some newer poems that I haven't read anywhere yet. So I'm excited about that. This first poem that I'm reading is in response to the Where I'm From prompt. And so some of you have likely done a Where I'm From poem before. I wrote it for a podcast, and it tells you a little bit about my background. It's called I Am From Low Expectations and Defying the Odds Anyway. I'm from chanclas y batas, old school salsa and freestyle, like Willie Colon and TKA, from standing on dad's feet, dancing to Blue Magic, finding joyous moments to be free. I'm from the closet of a modest one-bedroom apartment, from elevated 4 and subterranean D trains, from bus passes and Dominican cabs. I'm from adobo y sazon yellowing my hands, from sofrito, from the food of La Isla del Encanto. I'm from games and good times, double dutch, Uno, chess, trouble. I'm from free school lunch and government cheese, from surviving domestic violence and alcoholism from below the poverty line. I'm from you love your family no matter what. I'm from washing floors with agua florida, from burning sage to ward off evil. I'm from God don't like ugly, lighting velas on our altar to honor the saints. I'm from the advice head on a swivel, always be aware of your surroundings, from the lesson, si no se acuestan contigo ni te pagan tu renta, entonces no tiene opinión, which means if they don't sleep with you or pay your rents, then they don't get to have an opinion. I'm from strong moral values, from taking care of family and patients at the height of the AIDS epidemic, from marches and protests, from loving without borders or limits, from the memories of Titi Sasa, Titi Boom Boom, and Tio Julio, built con fuerza. I'm of Leo and Libra, fire and air, learn and unlearn. I'm from unabashedly walk with purpose and head held high, from believing a spick meant a sophisticated Puerto Rican in control. I'm bred from proud New Yorkers, Alphabet City in the boogie down Bronx. I'm from contradictions and intersections. I'm from independentistas and staunch USA lovers, from buried histories and freedom fighters. I'm from scratched up records, from faded family photographs held together by plastic sheets, from the moments captured on a camcorder well before I could appreciate them, from the dog-eared pages of Langston's poems, and from the tear-stained stories, a younger version of me bled into dozens of composition notebooks, showing I was meant to do more than just survive. So I often write about social issues, and so this is just a content warning. These next 3 poems are about emotional abuse and domestic violence. And this first poem is actually going to be in an upcoming anthology on Black mental health, and it's called You Never Laid a Hand on Me. You never laid a hand on me. You didn't have to. I flinched at the lunges and fake-outs, acquiesced to the raised fist, quieted at your yells and growls. A firm look was enough to attenuate my resolve. No, I should never say a word about who I really am. Your misogyny wafted, like intoxicating perfume, carrying the weighted message, bury it deep. I dug a 7-foot grave, extra for good measure, lest you try to trick me out in a drunken rage. So sure-footed in my deception that years beyond your house, lying in the muck you created, I denied my butterfly wings. Now frail, your salty words fall short of stinging as I worm my way out into sunshine. This next poem is called The Moment I Learned There Are No Heroes. Titi, please help, I pleaded. One of them is going to kill the other. Gripped the payphone at night in the cold, 8 years old, scared, having witnessed mom and dad go to battle in the living room, their gladiator stadium. Weapons of choice, knives and statues. Titi won her fight with Theo. Left that man right quick after he raised his fist and proved a woman could survive on her own. Except I heard the familiar demon in her voice, a bottle of Puerto Rican rum. She slurred, scolded. No, I won't come over there. She has to leave on her own. It didn't matter that I was collateral damage, voice hoarse from crying, 8 but forced to be grown, forced to understand. There would never be anyone to save us. This next poem is called I Am Not the One. I was in ecstasy when the smack came unexpected. The buzz between my ears reverberates until it morphs into a light ring just out of grasp, like the ring he'll never put on me. What is it about my face that says hittable? What was it about mom that said punching bag? Witness to the bangs and crashes and shrieks, and here I am, pattern repeating. I hear her cries like a hymn hypnotizing me, unfreezing my shocked body, gathering the rage that wells in my gut, purrs, hums, gnaws through my chest, activates my self-respect, and my arm levitates, straightens, and whoosh, smackety smack, smack, his smiling face left askew, no victims here, clackety clack, clack, body mobilizes, whoosh, I stand ready to throw more hands. Stunned, he stumbles back, and boom, pattern undone. This next poem I wrote a couple of months ago. I was taking a class with a professor, and he asked us to write about flowers. And I thought, really, at a time like this, with so much going on in the world, you want me to write about flowers? And so this was my response, and it honors the women in my family. And this poem will be coming out in the Pinch Journal in March, so I'm excited about that. Asking me to write about flowers when we're fighting for our right to exist. Unless we're speaking of sheroes, like Abuela Nana, who like a daylily is perennial, surviving, blooming despite poor soil and neglect, nearly indestructible. With her backbone made of Kevlar, that woman surmounted all the isms in a day and age that wanted her put down. Or if we're talking about Abuela Mama, a marigold, pest resistant even to her own husband, smiling bright despite the abuse, sun and fun loving, she danced and sang every day anyway. Or maybe if you asked about Mom, who moves through each season like a ninja and miraculously blooms in the hardest conditions, a milk flower, breaking her way through the frost, I owe them my voice, my resilience. They are the reasons I can endure the heat of fascism easier, like Russian sage summons the ancestors' strength. This next poem is a bit of a reflection poem, and it's called Childhood Darkened in Hindsight. Joy sprouts from dirt like bull thistle after a storm in spring. When the comedy stylings of Pryor, Carlin, Murphy punctuate my ears, erupt a guttural laugh from belly already permeated, chock full of forbidden goodness, sultry, sticky peanut butter stuffed with dark chocolate almonds and slippery sweet cafecito smushed with salty galletas. It was the kind of snackage Abuelo made to shush me, witness to his indiscretions, when I was too young to know better, to spell betrayal, to grasp Abuelita's knowing look when she saw the crumbs on my shirt. So there's a lot happening in the world right now, and I'm scared for our country and for all of our safety. And so that fear has naturally made its way into my work. And these next two poems are dedicated to my writer friends who have been speaking out at great personal risk. The Price of Silence. I witnessed bravery yesterday, loudly proclaiming they are undocumented in this unhinged political environment, stepping out to read poems that articulated their anger, fear, exasperations, hopes, dreams, willingness to sacrifice their safety and freedoms. Danger always lurked in the crevices, but now the evil has been platformed, unmasked, given unchecked power. I wonder what happens when you fight a Loch Ness monster with metaphors, push back on government edicts with well-crafted images and hyperbole. But I know rhyme can strike fire in the bellies of the disenfranchised, morphed into whirlwind wild wildebeest stampeding in protest, slinging words like sharp swords, slicing iniquity welded of symbolism. Yesterday, I observed courage, orgullo, an unwillingness to make themselves small, recognition that art is resistance, a necessary chronicle, and survival is resilience. We will shiver at the consequences, yet the price of silence is being able to live freely. This next poem is after the song I Am Not Okay by Jelly Roll. It's a pretty popular song that plays in my head a lot, but it's called I Don't Have the Privilege of Believing in Miracles. I want to listen to your catchy tune, be uplifted, have faith we're all going to be all right. But God won't intervene as people die or disappear. The devil on my back is not metaphorical. Severe depression compresses my spine, anxiety real. I can appreciate the message and call bullshit at the same time. No generations of citizenship in my lineage is little protection when brown. Love of country alone won't save any of us. I want to sing this hymn like a worship and pray for a miracle. But as you say, I can't be the only one who's holding on for dear life. My cries, grains of sand on the universe's beach, a dash of honey in a pot of tea, and ants without a colony. So this next poem is about living with disabilities, and it's called Invisible Illnesses. When my hair follicles light up like toxic fireflies, you cannot see the screaming behind my eyes or begin to understand that my nerves combust the way lightning strikes turn sand into shards of glass. You who jumps and runs and lifts and takes the stairs on purpose for extra exercise can't comprehend my leaded legs, joints blowing up like balloon animals, bone on bone knees sliced so sharply I can feel pain in my teeth like metal scraping the pot bottom. You can't imagine torturous flare-ups lasting days, rationalizing suicide, as if my body were peppered with 1,000 paper cuts, sunk in a lemon salt alcohol bath, crawled for hours on jagged rocks, then spine stomped, compressed, forced fetal position. Can't you push through it, dear? You ask, doubting. Think I'm a drama queen because I still have all my limbs, but you refuse to educate yourself on fibromyalgia or spondyloarthritis. Fancy words, you repeat, for things that aren't real, if you just try hard enough. I can't control much, but I will walk away from your toxicity, your denial of my pain. I will no longer labor endlessly to convince you. There is power in choosing myself, energy reserved for the believers, those who offer shoulders to lean on when the fatigue sets in. Like feelings of love have no discernible visual, nor do I, but we both still exist. And these last two poems are my version of love poems. And the first tiny little poem is after Andrea Gibson, and it's called Por favor. Please let me remember. Por favor, let me hold on to the sound of your baritone, the gruffness of your fingertips against my cheek, the heat of your breath. I'll wear your memory like new skin, play dress up in your laughter, dance off beat, because while our rhythm was broken, I still hear the music. And this last poem is dedicated to my partner, and it's called I Was Taught to Be Afraid of Men Who Look Like You. Fierce-faced, tall, sturdy, white, bearded, in camo, I was taught to be scared of men with profiles like yours, country bred, trained in combat, knows the kill points. But you defied every stereotype. Warm, not angry. Funny, not sarcastic. Hug-fueled, not trigger-happy. With a deep bellowed laugh that shimmers with joy, not the ominous cackles that make me want to get out. When the supremacists catch you alone, they assume kin. Instead, you lean in, grit teeth, say, I am not your brother. Walk away, fuming. You take the hits, the spit. When our affection enrages those who dehumanize brown skin, I sat in constant anxiety like when walking alone at night until you propped me up like an angel resting on cumulus clouds and reassured, head on a swivel, need not be my permanent state. You'll be lookout so I can rest. Raised by a Mexican abuela in a family married to all races, you put your foot in those enchiladas cooked with soul, like your mac and cheese and the pride taken in the breakfast you make each morning as you dance to reggaeton and model runway style just to make me giggle. My symbol of happiness, safety, the lighthouse guiding me home. You've shown me tenderness can live in the male gaze. We both remain wary of men who look like you. Proceed cautiously, wondering, what they have been taught about me. Thank you all so much for your time. I'm super excited to hear the rest of the open micers. This has been wonderful.
It's definitely been wonderful for us, Jasmine. That was a outstanding, stellar reading with so much importance, so much poetry in the importance. I really loved it. I'm pretty sure I was reminded of the first poem that you read, the I Am From poem. I'm pretty sure that's what really perked my ears up when I heard you read in Long Beach. And it's quite possible the line "I am from government cheese" got you this gig. You know what I'm saying? I really that was a good line. But then, so much more came along that was deep and powerful. I mean, just I could go on and on. What is it about my face that says hittable? I mean, it's there's so much power in your work. Well done. Thank you very much. I'm pasting some stuff in the chat, and I'm going to share the screen to show the broadside I made for one of Jasmine's poems. There it is. You can download this now at the link that I posted in the chat, poetrysuperhighway.com/Cobalt. This is how we compensate our featured poets. We make one of these posters that you can download and print if you'd like. It's an 11 by 17 print. And I hope that you'll consider tipping our reader, tipping Jasmine for her reading. In this case, we've got Venmo. There's a Venmo ID. It's the same thing. Those of you familiar with putting money in the hat that gets passed around at an in-person reading tonight, Venmo is the hat. So please consider tipping Jasmine for her reading at the Venmo ID. I almost said Jasmo ID. I don't know if you're working on that, Jasmine, but let me know. But Venmo, so there you go. You can download the broadside there at that website. You can visit Jasmine on the web at VallejoLoveLife.com. Fantastic URL that you've got there. And finally, as a reminder, you can engage with her on Instagram at Cafecito with Jazz. I'd like to get a cup of cafecito with you, Jazz, sometime. So,
Oh,
all
I would
right.
love that.
Cool. All right. So, Jasmine, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate your
Thank you.
presence here and that you brought out so many people as well. A lot of people are new here tonight, and it's because you said, "Hey, I'm doing this. Come here." So, thank you for that as well.
Of course. Thank you so much.
One more round of applause for Jasmine Vallejo Love. Thank you, Jasmine. Great job. I will quickly mention that next week our featured reader will be Malcolm Friend. He is a poet whose poem I came across through the daily poem a day email that poetry.org, or Poets and Writers, sends out every morning. So he's going to be great. So come back next week to hear him. That leaves us with the rest of tonight's open reading, and it's a stellar one. Here's who I have on the list in this order. If you're new here and you didn't know how it works and you still want to sign up, you can. You can just send me a message in the chat, and I'll add you to the list. Here's who I have at this point: Martin Parker, Nicole Evans, Michael G. Hickey, Dana Weeks, Melody Anderson Bermudez, Julian Matthews, Christian Montalegre, Denise Dumars, Kathabella and Jackie, Linda V.E. Crawford, Heather Romero Kornblum, Neil Deswani, Ed Potastic, Jennifer Elise Wang, Jeffrey Bryant, and Tonietta Villamil, and me. And perhaps you'd like to read as well, like Carlos just mentioned in the chat. I got you on the list, Carlos. Just as a friendly reminder, in case you came late, 2 poems maximum. And less is more is the suggested time limit. We've got a long list of people, so please be conscious of the amount of time that you're spending, so you don't feel like you have to rush through it, and so people feel comfortable staying all the way to the end to hear everyone. Okay, that's everything I have to say. On deck, Nicole Evans. Please welcome now Martin Parker. Hello, Martin.
Hello again, Rick. Thank you so much to you and everybody in the room here tonight. Powerful poetry so far. I'm sure there'll be a lot more. I got 2 poems here. This first one is called The Power of Windows. My window stands open despite the cold. This ancient radiator is hard to control. The sound of sirens comes drifting through the crowded confines of my tiny room, sailing through canyons of concrete and steel. They disappear as I start to feel the pull of memories of earlier days, of running around in a rigorous race to close all the windows in our two-story house, as lightning the neighboring firehouse would rouse before the rain could get in. Sirens fill the air, drifting through open windows, echoes of the past. And this is one I read here before, but I feel like I have to read it again because it was written exactly 5 years ago. This is called Like Ships That Pass. You ferried us home in your boat of a car. We'd all spent the weekend at Rehoboth afar, dropping me off to prepare for the week. You planted a peck of farewell on my cheek with whiskers that bristled like those of my dad, and memories that leave me both glad and sad. We'd later venture up Pendle Hill's height, a center named for the mystical sight of foxes, visions, and infamous trials, amid the laughter, hugs, and smiles, and bouts of delusion, a friend who'd need aid. A harrowing journey home was made. A single earring brought you out of hiding as you talked about the crushing stress of postal works and catering to your mother's quirks. Then after the loss of your mother dear, you retired to where the water was clear, or so the name on the sign would say, with a partner who'd call you his cubby each day. He posted the news that your lungs gave way and struggled to find the words to say you were felled by a plague a tyrant ignored and passed in the night when the rabble stormed that citadel shining, that ship of fools, plagued by gridlock, dysfunction, and rules that bring painful pressure but little relief to the many now feeling so much grief. I'd put aside this chiding rhyme if I could just see you one last time, to wrap you in my arms like this, and let my beard brush your cheek with a kiss. And this is in loving memory of David Christopher Shipp, who passed on January 6, 2021, of complications from COVID. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Martin. A good friend keeps another good friend alive through a poem. Well done. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Martin Parker. On deck, Michael G. Hickey. Please welcome Nicole Evans. Hello, Nicole.
Hello. So glad to be here and inspired by everyone. I have a couple of poems, short ones to share from a chapbook I'm working on. The first one is After All, After Switches They'll Never Be, for Glenn Scott Evans. I was there when God showed you they loved you. Post double urgent emergency surgeries, I remember when you were in recovery. They brought you out of your room to hear a visiting violinist sharing the healing power of music, which you knew well. A bluebird at the window. You were overcome by the grace and mercy in your deliverance. God loves you. I'm convinced because when you got worse, they took you quickly, ended your suffering, left your loved ones chock full of joyous memories, instead of the torturous existence your life had become. Grave illness robbed you of joy, compassion, kindness. Your existence became defined by anger, resentment, fear. You could not begin to fathom a recovery from that breed of suffering. There'll never be a better love. The next month after your ascension, the world shut down. Many died quickly, some died slowly, and all suffered, even the survivors. I found perfect gratitude. I finally understood death as a messenger of of joy, that you did not have to survive a nightmare called a pandemic. God still blesses you. A better love, la 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 la. How merciful that you did not witness when it came for your sister and the rest of the branches broken off of our tree. This grace is the peace that carries me, at least. My second poem, the last one I'm going to share, is called Excuse Me, I Miss My Ass. I yearn for the fervor and the profundity of the presence of my royal posterior like a Clydesdale when I felt bold enough to strut. My round, early grandstanding theotopagic attributed Sarchi of Venus-like bum. I miss the ardor of a high bubbleback stance, the swell of a certain desire when there was more bounce to the ounce. I long to gravitate towards the waning lunation of this great moon. A reduction in size is a reduction of pride. Nothing was as enjoyable as attaining my survival weight, getting taken down, the shakes these cakes quake offer, my own applause and approval. Pardon me, this is a result of wanting for nothing, and Winchell's hasn't enough carbs to fill this reservoir. There is still a hunger to satiate that pays homage to a fanny descended from a grand pair of grannies, a familiarity, a grounding substantial, a knowing, a belonging once reaffirmed by a man who chased me down to say, the wagon I toted behind me belonged to his mother country. Thank you.
Wow, Nicole, that was truly fantastic. So glad you made it here to the open reading tonight. Please, please, please come back and read more. Round of applause for Nicole Evans. On deck, Dana Weeks. Please welcome now Michael G. Hickey. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone, and happy 2026. I have two poems. The first one I would kind of call a micro poem, and it's the title is part of the first line. So the title is Poetic Justice. Poetic justice occurred the day the man who designed high-heeled shoes for women married the woman who invented the necktie. Thank you. And you'll laugh your ass off later on tonight. And then the other one I have, there's a con going on where people are calling, and it's an AI thing, and they try to pretend like your grandkid is in a car wreck or whatever. And this really happened to me recently, and I just had to write about it. I don't know if it was a con or not, but man, it sure sounded real. So anyway, I just wanted to say just a couple things about it. I just learned that this particular song that the epigraph is from was written from the persona of a woman whose husband is a soldier fighting in Vietnam. It was written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David. You know the song. The epigraph goes like this. At work, I just take time, and all through my coffee break time, I say a little prayer for you. This poem is called A Son Named Michael. I'm answering emails. It's 1:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. I remember I have to swing by the store to get something for tomorrow's potluck when I get a phone call. Strangely, that cell phone chime still sounds otherworldly to me. The person on the other end of the line half whispers, half cries in the single most desperate voice I've ever heard. Dad, Dad, this is your son. Dad, I'm in really big trouble. There's a slight pause and then, Dad, I hit another car and it's really bad. Now, I'm the father of two teenage sons, and admittedly, there is an instant solace in my heart knowing that this voice sounds nothing like either of them. Still, I go into super dad mode. With 11 children, my father was a master at this. The more urgent the trauma, the more cool, calm, and collected a dad has to be. A life or death emergency requires the composure of a heart surgeon as well as a soft voice. What is your name? I ask. He whispers and whimpers, Michael. Well, my name is Michael Hickey, and I don't have a son named Michael. He hangs up immediately. Later I think, why would he misdial his own father's phone number? Wouldn't he have it in a contact list just a click away? All night I wonder how it went with Michael's dad. Is the other driver okay? Is Michael okay? I wish I'd have written down the number. I can't sleep, and I find myself feeling the need to know whether it was just a con or genuinely desperate boy, a son I never had named Michael, who I say a little prayer for over and over again. Thank you.
Michael, thank you. Good to hear that piece again. Incredible. Must have been incredible to experience, I can imagine.
I still think
Thank
it's real, but I know a lot of my friends are saying that it's not. So
I guess we'll never know. Or maybe you will someday. Who knows? But thanks for bringing it to us. Round of applause for Michael G. Hickey. Thank you, Michael.
thanks, everybody.
On deck, Melody Anderson Bermides. Please welcome now Dana Weeks. Hello, Dana.
Hello, everyone. It is 11:38 on the East Coast, and so I'm going to hope to stay with you all as long as I can. I'm going to read two poems tonight. The first one is titled The Devil's Eldest Daughter Defends. 1. Pops don't trust mortals. He shouldn't. Call all these folks strange. Convince strangers stay heavy on being saved or savior. Like a line binary, like be tamed or tamer. Pop savors wildflowers, stunningly unruly. No, even their spines get mowed. No, these weeds got deeper roots. Pops told me at 12, real saviors won't dam your spitfire. Asked when I turned 56, you understand yet? 2. Heave an inevitable goat folks blame. Those who survive to live faithfully. Swallow quiet. Settle into fury's pinhole, that quiet. Place themselves on cul-de-sacs that never mind thy neighbors. Throats unlock only when fury finds their front porch. Say, but we are God's children. Then pray for quiet. That quiet, quiet. But pops know quiet be a brilliant noose. Told me at 83, silence will suffocate the hell out of you. 3. Pops never hears anyone hear him. Cool himself so late. Folks still assume Mama Earth the generous one for morning's dew. But I hear Pops, hear him hard. I know he sits on the bed's right side's edge. Never a prayer to an unheavy cloud. Never trust that good book scribbled by someone with no plot on a page, but always a motive. Told me hundreds ago, mortals can't survive an honest life. And then the next poem I'm going to read is also a poem like the first that's a work in progress. And this one is titled, Everything Happens for a Reason. Demetravian Reed, we call Trey, another Black man lynched, found heaven from a long enough rope, and people tithing tongues to make me a believer that this man had his reasons, except Black men don't hang themselves, and those men with pinned on badges keep having reasons to say there are reasons. But panhandlers do claim everything happens for a reason. When a Black girl is missed and missing and another trafficked into by man's painstaking abscess, the news won't break. It's not fragile enough. Not her first name, a syllable. God, I'm supposed to imagine a Black girl to save her. And this is for a reason. And I really shouldn't have questions because everything happens for a reason. Even a tight spiral floating black abracadabra. That black man can throw. Here, that one can run. Here, boy, that black man can catch and still keep those 2 feet in till he falls to his knees for his fallen, and that black boy be blacklisted for a reason. Dare I let this sanctuary hear even a clank clank and this proverbial plate? 'Cause I have my reasons. Seated in reality's pew, with this panhandler in the pulpit, God be at the gate sometimes, but when God's not, I wonder about those whereabouts, those reasons. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you.
Dana, thank you. I think you've made it official. Tonight, the theme is knocking it out of the park with our amazing work. So thank you so much for joining in with that and for being here. Please come back and read some more. Always welcome. Round of applause for Dana Weeks. On deck, Julian Matthews. Please welcome now Melody Anderson Bermudez. Hello, Melody.
Hi there. Well, this has been a wonderful night and great poetry. Must go on. My poem is called The Singing Must Go On. Once more, the song is not in the singing, but the singing is in the song. If I were an Adele, say, would everyone pass me by? All I know is that people, no longer children, of a certain generation were named Adele. Could they sing, write songs? I doubt it. I begin to realize that my poetry starts as songs, and then I crunch them back to poems. My parents were always singing. Good morning, I slept the whole night through. Good morning to you. People of my gen, hippies, sang folk songs. Not so us, the five Grimace girls. We sang songs of the 40s. Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. These are the songs that reverberated in our household. I remember Alan Amers, a year younger than me, listening to the songs of the 60s on a small red transistor radio. Alan had earphones in his ears. We never knew where he was, what he was listening to. The song is not in the singing, but the singing is in the song. Alan never sang aloud. His lips did not move. We, the five girls, three boys of the Brumis family, never, not one of us, had a transistor radio. We knew what not to ask for. My father's hi-fi, the one he built from a kit, would do for each one of us. We each knew how to adjust the radio to the station, blasting out songs of the 60s. My father put in his Frank Sinatra selection of records. Don't mess up where he is, we knew too. My dad listened to Frank in a certain order. We couldn't believe that. Girls of my mother's generation were the Bobby Sockers and swooned when Frank came by. He was not the Beatles, or was he? I'm gonna hold your hand. I'm gonna hold your hand. The song is not in the singing, but the singing is in the song. I sang songs, little ditties, to get my five children to do things. Put your arm in the hole, you know I love you. Put your arm in the hole, you know I love you. Put your arm in the hole, you know I really care. Put your arm in the hole, you know I love you. The song went on and on until each child dressed themselves. I love singing these songs, ditties. I only knew it worked when my grown children sang these same songs to their children. The song is not in the singing, but the singing is in the song. My father had a whole litany of melody songs. In my heart there is a melody, a pretty melody that Jesus gave to me. I was not my father's favorite, but he surely had more songs to sing about me. The music never stops in my head, but when I crunch the songs into poems, the song, the singing is on. I sing to my 6 little chihuahuas when I walk them down and up the hill. The neighbors beep their car horns as they pass by. Everyone is in the song. The singing must go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Melody. Really fun, wonderful, nostalgic piece there. All kinds of things went through my head when you said put your arm in the hole. I'm not going to get into it now just because of time. But thank you so much for being here. A round of applause for Melody Anderson Bermudez. Well done.
Thank you.
On deck, Kristen Montalegre. Please welcome now Julian Matthews. Hello, Julian.
Oh, hi. Pressure screen. Oh. A poet's life. I did not know the crevices of my cerebrum held secrets of my past. How neatly they were tucked in there only to be retrieved by the incision of poetry. Hidden traumas tell no tales until tickled by the sickle of metaphor, the camphor of simile, the vermicelli of memory. Cooked and strained in the colander of the brain, pain is rinsed and drained, slips away through the perforations. What remains in the end are the sound and fury and rhythm of things that came and went, the venting of things long held within, rising in the sizzle of verse, vaporous, visceral, vexing. The radiance of 1,000 streams released in spring, a torrent of thoughts, revived, reviewed, reversed, in new form. Squiggles on a screen, pixelated pixies, digital dust, invigorated into animation like lightning striking embryonic stem cells, dividing, differentiating, diversifying in a luscious lust to live, live, live. Then the relief and soothing from the bloodletting, the word ache extracted, throbbing on the page like a pink appendix on a white sheet, the whole left behind, to be cauterized and closed for good, a heart still beating in retaliation. Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. Glad to have you here. Always appreciate the hashtag on your poems, not poetry. There's a certain humility in that, which is appreciated, I think, at least by me, I'm sure by others. Thank you for being here. Julian Matthews is reading to us from Malaysia. Please give him a round of applause. Thanks for being here, Julian. On deck, Denise Dumars. Please welcome now Kristen Montalegre. Hello, Christian.
Hi, Rick. Hey, everybody. It's so awesome to be with all of you tonight. And yeah, looking forward to be participating more actively this year. And Jasmine, it was so great to hear your work. Un placer de verdad. And looking forward to connect with you some more. So I just have one poem. I think it's a work in progress. And the current title is Personal Footnote in bold. Anthony Soprano dies, and from his point of view, the TV shuts down, like we would turn the power knob from an 80s TV box, with the twinkling, diminishing sound of a continued existence. I hear someone was found dead in the stairs of the Pacific Design Center. Their TV shut down. I often fear for the same unexpected death, one with no warning. I pray I get 2 hours left so I can make all the phone calls I need to my past lovers, to my constant friends, to my imperfect family. I would call the 1-800 number to iron out my life insurance. I would water my plants one last time and stick post-it notes of inheritance to friends, family. Petunia would go to Gilbert. Clarice would go to my sister, etc., etc. I would cry tears of fear, of desperation, and of indelible resistance. I would ponder in silence my impact in this world, sulking or raising my chest high. I wish to call my lover to hurry home to say goodbye and to hold my hand as I depart. Maybe I choose to make myself a drink, a mean gin and tonic with lime. I blast music to blind my ears to oblivion, simmer into the passion of warm, fond memories and welcome death. If sudden death surprises me, though, with no warning, then I would push away the shock, breathe out quickly any regrets, and sign off with no expectations of a sequel. Thank you.
Christian, thank you so much. Hope you do get to be with us more often this year. Great to hear that piece. And looking forward to hearing more. Thanks so much. Round of applause for Christian Montealegre. On deck is the collab tonight with Cathabella and Jackie. Please welcome now Denise Dumars. Hello, Denise.
Hi, how's everybody tonight? Wow, this has been such a fabulous evening so far, and it was so great to hear you, Jasmine. I'm going to kind of go off in a little different direction here, kind of into folklore, but you know, as I'm kind of listening to everything and kind of everything we're going through right now, it makes me wonder how much folklore and stuff like that is really generated from trauma and you know, abuse and oppression and that kind of thing. And you know, I think probably there's a huge relationship there, because I kind of see this stuff throughout various cultures. Both of these poems tonight deal with Celtic folklore. One is Irish, one is Scottish. They both mention the same item in different ways, which is this thing. It's called a blackthorn chain. It's also called a shillelagh. It's an all-purpose mobility device / weapon / magic wand. All right, so I'll start with red comb. Red comb is another name for the red caps. If you've ever heard of a very destructive elf called a red cap, that's what this is about. And this starts with a quote from Robert Frost. Good fences make good neighbors. Red comb. Blight your hair with blood, drag through the rusty comb. Yeah, we don't fear forged iron. We smite with scythe and cross the uncrossed border, laughing. Nay, none of us are tied to time or place. A crime is just daylight to us. The night, another playground, and the crossroads meet us at our glimmering point. It's not too late to anoint the broken wall with gore, the broken treaty too, that broken peace, that broken covenant. It's no mystery why Scottish quid and English quid are not reciprocal. Remember when the borders were the liminal world, where Romans built a wall. They could keep the blue-faced in, but nary us. If we wish to move among you, we don our leather and linen, steel-toed working men's boots, top it all off with a jaunty red cap. You know the one I mean. You recognize the danger. Yes, we crossed the pond some hundreds years ago and keep the blood a-flowing. And this one is called Who the Lonely Flute. Both of these poems were published in an online journal called Eternal Haunted Summer. Who the Lonely Flute. And it comes from, I started with a line from a song that is a traditional Irish song. You may have heard it in a movie recently. The line is, cut a stout black thorn to banish ghosts and goblins. That's from the Rocky Road to Dublin. Who the Lonely Flute. Steal the harp and strip our magic. Tell us that the flute is a measly thing, an instrument of poverty. Pull up our crops and plant the foreign field. Who the lowly flute calls, cries in the night. over the seas and into the dark mix of rough and tumbled lies. No Ian Macminia to put us all to sleep with songs of curses or the devil's pipes, or quaint folk fun as we raise our shields against Ian's somnolent stealing of our souls. And when I swing my shillelagh, like the proper crone I am, the human ghosts and goblins only laugh and call it a mobility device. But it's a wizard's wand, a druid's device. And can you hear the drums? We're still here. We're still here. Thank you.
We are indeed with our drums of words here in Cobalt Poets. Thank you for sharing that artifact with us. It's a perfect intro to. It gets me wondering, well, what's Rick going to show us in the collab with his flute? I think the two of you should get together and start a swap meet. I don't know what you should do, but something with your artifacts that we could just dwell amongst them. Thank you so much for being here, Denise. Fun poems tonight. Thank you. Great to hear them. Round of applause for Denise Dumars. On deck, Linda V.E. Crawford, please welcome our collab tonight with Cathabella Wilson and Jackie Chow. Hello to both of
Thank
you.
you, Rick. I will share screen, please. Come on. Oh gosh, I always have this trouble. The later it gets, the weirder. I have to say. Oh, look, it's right there. Why is it not anywhere else? It's right in front of me. Let's see where it's going to go. We have a good one. And meanwhile, maybe Rick can tell you about his artifact.
There's not much. I've shown it before. This is a shakuhachi, traditional Japanese flute, but it was found in South Pasadena in a vintage shop. And it was my first wooden shakuhachi. It was broken to pieces, cracks everywhere, but if you, it can be fixed.
Right, so you were close. See, this came from South Pasadena.
That's from South
Wonderful
Pasadena.
shakuhachi. Made where?
Oh, Kyoko, not Kyoko, Kyushu.
Kyushu.
I forgot the maker's name, but I remember he's did it in Kyushu, maybe in 1960s.
Yeah, so there we are. Okay, I was there when we found that flute in South Pasadena.
Who made me buy it?
I made him. I'm sorry.
Said it. Oh, it's.
But you're happy, right?
Yes.
Okay, the Flower Hat Club. I did not make up that. It was Kazuaki who did it. Finally made it true. Long time in mind. I was planning to be a member of the Flower Hat Club. He's amazing. He's in Japan. Yeah. He's our inspiration. I keep it under my flowery hat. The magic garden I grow there in my head. Jackie.
Flower hats, symbols of ethereality. I wear them to cope with reality.
Look at her! Wow, Jackie, you look great. Thank you. I have to take a picture of you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I have it on right. I don't have them
pretty. How pretty. We're complementary colors, too. Siggy, you want to read Siggy, Jackie? It's too late for Siggy. Siggy is getting better, but she's not at the point of being here at 11:30 p.m. on her time. Okay.
Collecting hats hung over her bed. Flowers always. Handmade gifts. She has by every color.
By every color. Now, Jeannie said, Jasmine weaves through her black hair. Her scent arrives as she enters the room. Her name is Cleopatra. She made it and dropped it on my head. You need this. Selling your seashells at the Sunny Art Show. I knew she was right. Which people think I always wore hats, but I didn't. My friend was making hats and she decided I better have one while I was selling my work at the art show in Santa Barbara. And that's how it all started. I had no idea. Okay, Jackie.
My blue fedora bursting with hydrangeas. The Flower Hat Club needs regular meetings.
We try. Now, our favorite Peter, he said, amateur member of the Flower Hat Club. Friday, I baked banana raisin bread. You can read, Joanna.
Filling my name in the blank space, I offer my pen to the Starlight Club for roaming.
And Diane says, Diane isn't here, but she should be. All of us wear hats in our Tonka group. Lines of poetry and rows of flowers making our artsy mark. Lakshman said clusters of yellow marigolds, in her hair a warm sunny canopy. And Michael, Jackie, what did he say?
A young man wearing a large brimmed flowery hat stops along the way to the roses.
To smell the roses. And Jackie?
Wearing a flowery hat in public. My only dilemma.
The compliments. Your sound broke up and you can't break up at the compliments. Yeah. Yeah, I know how you feel. I always get compliments and then I think, why don't they all wear them? Everybody loves my flowery hat.
Yeah.
So here's Kazuaki. What did he say?
After Halloween, still brave enough to go out in a hat with full of flowers.
Oh, and then there's Peter again with our favorite flower hat, flower shirt, flower pants. Slap my back and step away from the white cloud. Someday we have to get him here. Such a treat, besides a bag full of candy, to see a young man wearing a flowery hat. That's Michael. Michael Lester is a great poet, and he is the author and editor of many anthologies. And my favorite men are mathematicians and poets. I test them by whether they'll wear my flowery hat. Peter, flower hat. There he goes. I won't read it again. That's terrible. Kazuaki. After Halloween, still brave enough to go out in a hat full of flowers. We did that one already.
Yeah, you've done this.
Wait, I'll fix it. No. No, this is a new one. Jackie will read this one.
Oh, we read this one already.
Oh no, there we go. Well, I'm reading this one again. My favorite men are mathematicians and poets. I test them by whether they'll wear my flowery hat. And that's it. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, everybody.
And yeah,
Thank you guys very much.
Had
Costume changes, maybe even unwanted ones. I don't know. Did the flute players sign up to have clothes put on them during the playing? We'll never know. But there you go. Kathabella and Jackie, thank you so much for sharing that work and the work of all the people who you collaborate with to create
We
that.
do that all together. A whole bunch of poets
sure.
get together and write that poem together.
Yep.
And we get a little mix up. Maybe we have a little extra something.
Maybe. Well, Kathabella, again, thank you. Again, thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Rick. Round of applause for the collab. On deck, Heather Romero Kornblum. Please welcome now Linda V.E. Crawford. Hello, Linda.
Hello. Thank you so much. And Rick, if I can share screen, that will be great. And it's wonderful to spend this first week of the new year in the Cobalt Room. I thank you so much. I have two short poems. A little bit of a downer, but what can I say? War. Before I entered my mother's womb, and she, hers, and she, and she, and she, there's been strife. It's always too much. That's the first short micro poem, and then I have one more. And so, war. Oh, the huffing and the puffing and the blowing down of houses. The first little pig built a house of ant dung and straw. The second little pig built a house of palm fronds and wood. The third little pig prayed and prayed. 3,000-year-old stones would stand. The fourth little pig bought a house of steel, determined to forget the past. The fifth, the fifth, the fifth found oil. Oil the sixth dreamed of owning. Oh, the huffing and the puffing and the carrying of fire rage, the concocting and bum dropping, the teeth baring and the blooding. All the houses come tumbling down. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Not a fan of those latter pigs, Linda.
I know. Thank you.
Thank you for writing that, for giving us accessible language to understand about the pigs and what they're doing. Really appreciate that. Round of applause for Linda V.E. Crawford. Good to see you again in this space.
Great. Thank you.
On deck, Neil Daswani. Please welcome now Heather Romero Kornblum. Hello, Heather.
Hi, Rick. I'm so grateful to be here tonight, and the poems tonight are everything's fire. I'm so inspired by everyone. I'm just blown. Yeah, so I have a couple poems. The first one I'm going to read, it's from my son, and it's called Hell. Hell, I packed up clothes for you in sizes too big. I cheerily picked out in some seasonal clearance sale. Dinosaurs holding pizza slices on t-shirts claiming you got a pizza my heart. When you wore them, I wondered if others would know you had a mom who loved you and was gone. A mom who no amount of love for you could keep her alive, her body functioning. A mom who cried as she boxed the clothes, sure she would never get to see you in the next size up. When I came back to you, you didn't recognize me. My spirit departed, replaced by the woman who walked through all of the layers of hell to come back to you. I get angry at you sometimes for not realizing how lucky you are that I came back to Earth, walked through the layers of hell for you. I slide into the skin you knew, and it isn't enough. So that's the first poem. I'm going to read the second poem. It's called In the Wake of Time. You must have done something really bad to make him so angry, my son says about his stepdad, my separated, ghosting husband. When I explain how the thought of me dying was so overwhelming to him, it was easier to be angry at me, pretend it was my fault. Dying in my prime with love left to give was unfathomable. His anger now is, I guess, because I didn't die. However, that makes sense. When I was in the ICU, time dragged. I celebrated every minute that passed as the room expanded and diminished with where I was in relation to my body. My body moved in relation to my husband. My mind tricked to think I could touch him inches away. I knew I had no gods left and prayed to all of them to walk out, be with my family again. I walked out gingerly. How could I tell my son and husband the thing I didn't think would actually ever kill me and they didn't need to worry so much about could actually kill me? I was so sorry for putting them through that. It turns out there's no acceptable way to apologize for almost dying. I sometimes pity myself. Others have family around them, rejoicing they lived, survived, did not die. The people I loved who I wanted to never let down. I thought they would surround me, hug me as I breathed, fought for life. Gone. My husband, my son. Angry I could die. Angry I almost died. Angry I didn't die. Though I will one day anyway. That is the joke of time. Thank you so much.
Heather, thank you so much. You brought fire to fire. Well done.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Heather Romero Kornblum. On deck, Ed Potastic. Please welcome now Neil Daswani. Hello, Neil.
Thanks, Rick. And hello, everyone. Happy New Year, everybody. I have two poems. The first is called Chiang Mai Masseuse. And Chiang Mai is a lovely city in Thailand. And so this is my encounter with a masseuse in Chiang Mai. She thumbs through the directory of my feet, confirms that I'm flat-footed and not an athlete. Her fingers probe for where my feet are weak. My bunions and corns play hide and seek. Charts her course through calluses and cracks, plans her next move, then mounts her attack. Her knuckles knead away at a gnarly knot till she comes across the tendermost spot. My foot loses all its sense of touch and feel when her lathe assaults the spurs in my heel. Clenched teeth cage the rictus of my scream. Her eyes smile at me with an assassin's gleam. Her wrists clamp both my feet in a cinch. I tell myself, you will not flinch. Then her healing hands begin to transfer calm. For good measure, she rubs in some oily balm. Knick-knack, paddywhack, slow and deep. Much more than just my foot went to sleep. When it was over, she gave my foot a pat, stood up and bowed, and that was that. So that's the first, kind of tongue in cheek. And the second one is an ode to January. It's called January Come. To Janus, the two-headed, whose month comes round again. Looking forward to the year ahead, too nascent in its newness, too hard to read the road ahead, too early to see the first horizon, let alone the next. Looking back on the year gone by, too recent in its recency, too early to chronicle its history, too easy to forget what happened, let alone the rest. Thank you.
Neil, thank you very much for blessing January with a poem and for being here with us. And I know we have you on the books later this year, coming up in a little bit for your own featured reading. So very much looking forward to that. And thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, everyone.
Round of applause for Neil Daswani. On deck, Jennifer Elise Wang. Please welcome now Ed Potastic. Hello, Ed.
Hello, our wonderful host that we love the most, that deserves a toast, that goes coast to coast. And thank you for our feature. She did a wonderful job. Hello, everyone. My name is Ed Potastic. Hope everyone feeling fantastic. Please give me a time to enjoy my rhyme for all you feel sublime. I got two pieces, so I won't take too much time. The first piece is called Over-Opinionated Bonnet. Opinions are anchors, heavier than a tanker. They fling them high, then get in our eye. Oh, the lovely critics, you make us sick. You never hold back your words in packs. If not true or a good fact, then keep it under your hat. I know freedom of speech, but I'm not paying you to preach. You think you are true, but it's not about you. How can you quickly judge? There's something called overjudge. No more telescopes. I don't want to be a dope. No more personal labels. My heart's not stable. I hear it on the news. People singing the blues. People and their opinions. Try to understand this dominion. Why can't everybody understand? It's not your leg or your hand. Things are simply unique if your mind hasn't gone bleak. If you don't have sympathy, then don't spread misery. It's about me, me, me. If it's about you, there's no history. But, I don't like. But you aren't so bright. Can I ask, are you God? Does that sound odd? It makes you want to think. Now you're a missing link. Thank you. The last one's called Fail Winner. I fail a lot because I love a lot. Sometimes salt hits the spot. I'm only human, not a robot. I failed in school. I didn't understand the rules. I failed my ex-lovers. I did appreciate the summers with colors. I failed my father, but I was only a small toddler. I failed in life. The world is covered in black and white. Failing doesn't mean losing. It doesn't have to be confusing. It can be quite and amusing. Our virtues of information reusing. You're going to lose. Don't sing the blues. You can choose to follow the clues. It's good to live in the moment. Sometimes life is a godsend, helping us to treasure the gold and shit, basking intent of the segment than torment. Failing makes you stronger. How do you think we discover water? Be the frog, aka be like Frogger. Don't falter to be the winner, then the imposter. Thank you.
Be like Frogger. There's some serious wisdom in there, I think, Ed. Thank you so much for that and your work. Thanks for being here. Round of applause for Ed Potastic. On deck, Jeffrey Bryant. Please welcome Jennifer Elise Wang. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey, I'll just read one. So recently I've been part of the heated rivalry queer romance craze, and it just made me think about how last year, when things were getting tough, there was another queer romance that I just got into. So I'm going to share my piece that's in honor of both that and my own queer romance, and it's called Partners in the Javik sense of the word. You don't like partners to describe what we are, but I dwell in ambiguity, the gray area of gender, sexuality, and romance. The world is confusing, so we can be as well. We could be lab partners, science bros working in different fields on the same superhero squad. Though we both have anger issues, I think you're more stark than me. Canon might pair us with others, but we are endgame in my cinematic universe. We could be partners of a firm, avocados at law. You definitely make that joke, and I have maladaptive coping mechanisms that turn me into a devil who haunts the streets. Sometimes I think it'd be sexier if we were on opposing sides like Wright and Edgeworth, but I don't like yelling, so we have to work together. We could be partners in crime. Everyone assumes I mean Bonnie and Clyde, but I'm talking Billy and Stu, who made each other scream as loud as their victims, but only when the cameras were off. That sick and twisted part of me would lick the blood off your fingers like it's corn syrup. Maybe we could be it all, or some variation, where you make the laws instead of interpreting them, and my villain arc starts with the desire to heal and perfect. We're still pioneers of science, but the tech is arcane, a magic burning white hot, like this feeling we share across sides in space, in all timelines, in all possibilities, beyond quantification and definitions, supplied by language and the writers who speculate our story. It holds us together, even as my perfected self and the multiverses crumble, because only you are my partner.
Heated rivalry, queer romance craze. That's a lot to pack and unpack, Jennifer.
Yeah, there's also hockey involved in it. So
hockey. Well, that brings it all together, I think. Thank you. I feel a lot better about this whole thing now, especially if there's a potential Canadian involvement in some way. Thank you so much for being here, as always, Jennifer. Looking forward to knowing what your next craze is.
All right, thank you.
Round of applause for Jennifer. Elise Wang on deck. This is who we have left: Jeffrey Bryant, Antonietta Villamil, Carlos Ornelas, and me. If I missed anyone, or if there's any stragglers who would still like to read, please let me know by sending a message in the chat. Antonietta, you are on deck. Please welcome now Jeffrey Bryant. Hello, Jeffrey.
Hello, Jasmine. Your reading was absolutely sensational. Thank you. I'm so happy to get to know your work. I carry my favorite ocean with me on the plane, saltier than bags of nuts. I drink bottomless Coca-Cola, its ice cubes dying in a vat of corn syrup. I moan the safety lecture back, word for word, in my best Jane Mansfield, aroused by the idea of holding my ankles if the engines fail. Taking another Lilliputian bottle of Smirnoff, lip-syncing sly stone songs to the gremlin on the wing. I land where a tavern called the White Horse bucks the gender off my bones. I've slept with lots of cities that rolled off the bed, cities that lit my cigarettes, cities that opened their robes for inspection, cities that painted tears under the eyes of mural heroes, cities morning after morning that are partly cloudy and totally queer. Whatever this is, wherever this is, whatever's in my coffee, whatever poems are colliding in birdsong, whatever you look like when you slide up behind me, I could totally live here. Thank you.
Jeffrey, thank you. Bill said in the chat, "What a great opening line," and I was thinking, "Wow, what a great every single line," which is often what I think when I hear you read your work. So thank you so much for being here. It's a gift to all of us. Round of applause for Jeffrey Bryant. On deck, Carlos Ornelas. Please welcome now Antonietta Villamil. Hello, Antonietta.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Rick. How are you? Happy New Year to everyone. This poem, I'm going to read only one poem. It has three small parts. It's dedicated to Michael Rothenberg and Terry Carrion and the Latino community of the United States everywhere. Brutality Games. Santa Rosa, California. Andy Lopez from Santa Rosa. Andy Lopez from California. City fog entwines our glance with a last cry. The fate of a child enrages my tongue to conjuring words. A 13-year-old child's heart, a seed trampled on the street. My hands open umbrellas to shield his life from lead-rained bullets over the inner city. A child's dream of life reduced to a graveyard. 13-year-old holding a toy gun hits concrete under a bully's downpour. his life crushed alongside asphalt. The killer rinses honor and impunity decrease. While this child's hope for justice darts on comatose rainbows. George Floyd from Carolina. Ayuda que no puedo respirar. Help me, please. I cannot breathe. Cold-blooded cyclop, Escalop, took break of knee on my back. 9 minutes, 29 seconds. Took the kill knee to hang me neck. Floyd, I am no more, but made out mortal. I need time to go back, knee, neck, back when in peace reign of justice, in a peace blanket me dead skin in a white sheet, shed heartless Esilop broke neck from his knee, took break from life to my neck, to wed my existence to the viral bride, the self same virus dead declared unleashed on anyone dared to be black, brown, and black like me. From Wisconsin, Jacob Blake, 7 shots in the back. Dante riding, Minnesota, teased to death by her gun. Before the broken record replay, the junkyard pile of bodies, the reckoning, the aftermath, mountain to act in accountability with or out transparency. The tease me left or tease me right, gun me dirty or hurry me no Potter your no magic to the chest, right, right? And reason the risk, take a chance, cause a harm and a leg. One more death, great. Was one more black on the dot.
Antonietta, it's been a long time since you've been here. It's really nice to see you again. Great to hear you sing and read. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Antonietta Villamil. On deck is me to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Carlos Ornelas. Hello, Carlos.
Hello. This is Fiery Irony. I want to be fireproof, but I am a scarecrow. I want to be free, but I am an inmate. I am here on the front line trying to put out a fire I did not ignite. Embers fly and all is melting. Neighbors cry, the poor is helping. Must I remain inside a flame while they are seeking who to blame? Sweet dreams are made of these eurythmics. Is this a part of the Olympics? There is rebuilding in a rail system that needs land to build upon. These are plans that need my hands. My savage hands are good for nothing. They did the same thing to build Dodger Stadium. Instead of fires, they used men and bulldozers. But now they use me. But I don't mind, I'm just an inmate. This is repentance. This is how I serve my sentence. I'd rather perish in the flames than to be safe behind the fences. All the fences, prison fences, are not like any other fences. These fences are fireproof, but not me. I am a scarecrow. They pay me 50 cents an hour because inmates don't get hired. I guess this is what you call fighting fire with fire. No freedom fireworks. Sometimes fire works against you. They said they would lessen my sentence if I joined this fire camp because no one hires felons, but they love to fire felons. We become the fire fill-ins. Baptism under fire. I'm a double helixed fetus. They may scorch me with these flames and I hope to be a phoenix. If I never make it home, tell my mother I died righteous. This is why they switched to tablets and retired the papyrus. I am putting out fires in neighborhoods that never welcome me, and I'm starting to let my hair grow. I want to be fireproof, but I ain't just a scarecrow. No more poignant unemployment. They promise they will hire me and will no longer fire me. What a fiery irony. Thank you.
Carlos, that was fantastic. Great introduction to us of you. I hope you come back and read some more. Really enjoyed that quite a bit. Great poem. Round of applause for Carlos Ornelas. I'm going to close out the open reading with two poems. The first one is a poem from my book, my newest book, High Moose Alert, poems written when my wife Addie and I got to go on a trip to Alaska and Vancouver and the Canadian Yukon. This was a poem written in a small Canadian town in the Yukon called Whitehorse. It's for my wife. It's called Goodnight Whitehorse. It is 11:30 at night and the sun has no idea what it should be doing. Fully available to our eyes, and the blackout curtains are only blacking out our sensibility. We have to put our luggage in the hall at another time, which goes against everything we believe in. In 30 minutes, we will have been married for 20 years, minus the several hours until the afternoon when it all went down. I remember us greeting people as they arrived at the venue, surprised to see us, but happy to be welcomed. We're not big on grand entrances, just each other. Wednesday's grand entrance is coming soon. Of course, there's a poem on the hotel room desk. Not this one. We're flying from one part of the Yukon to another. Maybe we'll strike gold. I already did. Okay, there's that one. And this is a new poem that I wrote for this week's Torah portion. This year, as you may know if you've been here before, I'm learning what the Hebrew word of the title of this week's Torah portion means and responding to it. This week's Torah portion is the Hebrew word Shemot, which means names. This poem is called My Name is Your Name. When I came along, my parents agreed on my name, but not on the spelling. I learned this 18 years later when the mighty state of New Jersey sent me my birth certificate. It had two addenda, one removing the letter K from the end of Rick, signed by one of my parents, and another putting it back, signed by the other, dated the next day. You could see the divorce coming for miles. But I was too young to know what that word meant, or any words really, so I didn't think about it for 18 years. These days, I put my name on everything and shoot it out into the world. Poems, pictures of food, things I've stepped on and looked at. I'm trying to make a name for myself. I'm trying to make a name for the name I've been given. You could argue mission accomplished, but I am in a land of Goshen where these days stating your name could cause a problem. And I don't want to go the way of Joseph, forgotten in the diaspora by whoever ascends next. It's not about me, may be my mantra, but choosing life all day long may mean it's at least a little about me. Thank you for reading about my adventures, whether you live in the next room, down the street, across the world, or 100 years from now. I've stored all my grain for you. All these words are for you. Okay, people, we did it. Thank you so much, Jasmine Vallejo Love, for giving us a fantastic start to 2026. Really stellar, stellar reading. And you brought out so many people who hadn't been here before, who I hope come back and participate in the open reading sometimes and be a part of our community here. Everyone is always welcome. I pasted some stuff in the chat that I pasted earlier as a reminder. You can and should tip Jasmine for her reading via Venmo. There's her Venmo ID in the chat. You can download the broadside for her poem at the next link, poetrysuperhighway.com/cobalt. Click on broadsides if you're watching this on YouTube and not seeing the chat. There on the website, not only can you see Jasmine's broadside and the many broadsides which have been published over the many years of the series, but you can click on calendar to see who's coming up in the upcoming few months that are approaching. Next week, Malcolm Friend will be here, a poet from who got on my radar again through Poets and Writers, a daily email that comes every morning. Also on the Cobalt Poets website, you can click on email list if you're new here and want to be reminded about our reading every week with a convenient Zoom link so you can get right in or right to it. Then that's there as well for you too. Just add your email and you're in. Finally, you can click on Jasmine's website there, VallejoLoveLife.com, to see what she's up to on an ongoing basis, or engage with her on Instagram at Cafecito with Jazz. There on Instagram. So everyone else, thank you so much for being here. It really was a tremendous reading and great way to start the new year. Truly grateful to have this space and all of you here, whether you've been here before or you're new. I'm grateful for your presence tonight. I'm going to click on the Ask All to Unmute button so y'all can say hi to each other before we shut this thing down.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Happy 2026.
Hello.
Happy New
Hello.
Year.
I'm out of here. Have a good night.
Thank you,
Hi to,
everybody.
hi to each
Good
other.
night.
Bye
So
now.
much.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Love
Yes,
to
thank
see
you, everyone.
To see
Happy New
everybody.
Year.
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Great job, Jasmine.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a lovely community and so inspiring.